Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Sal, Stretford Post. How you doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn, a slightly later Breaking Dawn today, guys. Sorry I'm late. Had a number of things to do this morning. Couldn't get away from it, but I'm glad to be here anyway. I'm glad to have you guys on board. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Please, before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new and smash a like on the video. If you guys could do that for me, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Look, you know what? Honestly, I've seen interviews this week. I've seen interviews with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, with Arsene Wenger, with whoever it is, and Richard Keys, for crying out loud. And, you know, this Manchester United, anti-Manchester United agenda that's going on right now is absolutely pathetic. It is pathetic. All of a sudden, it seems like a crime that Manchester United could quite possibly qualify for the Champions League via the Europa League. We're not even there yet. We're not even there. We're not even in the final yet. And already they're shaking in their boots about Man United qualifying for the Champions League. What is wrong with these people? Is it a mental disease? Dude, are they ill? Is it something? Have we done something to them? Because as far as I'm aware, you know, especially in regards to Richard Keys and Andy Gray, Manchester United shaped their life, basically. Man United shaped Richard Keys and Andy Gray's life. You know, bringing Richard Keys, just a hairy man with a cheap shirt, from GMTV to Sky Sports, and Man United's success, Man United's edge of the seat football that went down to the last day of the season, basically contributed to their success. Now, they ruined it for themselves because, you know what? A leopard never changes its spots. They are who they are. Vile old men. That's basically what it is. And what I would say is that why are we the talk of the town? Why is it that I'm seeing Arsene Wenger, who was the king of finishing fourth place, running his mouth? The king of finishing fourth place. Now, look, you know what? I've never believed that the fourth place team should qualify for the Champions League. I actually believe that the second place team shouldn't qualify for the Champions League. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And to be honest with you, Manchester United deserve to qualify. If they win a trophy, I've always believed that the incentive should always be winning a trophy. When you retire, you're not going to say, oh, this is the time I came fourth. You know, you're not going to say that. You know, you're going to say, look, here's my trophy. You know, here's my trophy. And this is one thing I agree with Jose Mourinho about. It's about trophies. It is about trophies. It's about football heritage. This is what it's about. This is what football is all about for me, in my humblest of opinion, guys. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining today, by the way. Really appreciate you for coming on so late, of course. Thank you, everyone. Look, you know what? There's been a number of quotes floating about. I did get enlightened by Ruben Amorim's quotes. It does seem like Ruben Amorim is a little bit annoyed by what's going on. He did look a little bit fed up in the presser yesterday, to be honest with you guys. He didn't look like he was happy. He did say, he said, I have no doubt that we are playing better, so we have to take all the heat. At this moment, we are losing games in the Premier League. We are fighting for the Europa League, and Thursday is the most important game for us. Look, we agree with this. I agree with this. Thursday is the most important game. Obviously, people are going to jump up as soon as we lose the game. I mean, a lot of these people who are jumping up right now were pretty silent this last week when we were beating Lyon, when we were beating Athletic Bilbao. They were pretty silent. You know, they were crying about the red card, weren't they? That's what they were doing. They're crying about the red card. That's what they do, innit? You know, we are so hated, adored, but never ignored, of course, guys. But I agree with Ruben Amorim here. Ruben Amorim kind of came to the conclusion yesterday that, you know what, we cannot fight on two fronts with this squad. It's not so much about numbers, it's about quality. We can't fight on two fronts with this squad. This squad is not good enough. And it seemed like yesterday it hit home properly. Number 4-6 for Ruben Amorim, that this squad is not going to take us forward. Absolutely not. And I do agree with him. Mason, in regards to Mason Mount, he did say we need to do better. We need this. We need to win this game. We started well, but the second half and the end of the first half, conceding goals where we knew what was coming. We knew that we put crosses in the box and we need to defend that better. You know, Man United, you know, in reality, I feel had the better of the game. It's just that Brentford countered us very well. and we couldn't handle their threat, and we are a little bit of a soft touch. A lot of those players are a soft touch. But you know what? I would say that this, in defence of some of these players, is that when you're shifting the defence around, moving the defence around, and always moving the team around, you're going to get less camaraderie. You're going to get less chemistry within the team, which will contribute to the team losing goals and stuff like that. Because obviously you defend as a unit, you attack as a unit. But if you're not a unit and you've not been put together properly, you're gonna concede goals and stuff like that. There's rumours about Mbeumo. Again, I've been servicing about Mbeumo now. Mbeumo is a difficult one. Would you rather Mbeumo or would you rather Cunha? I don't think for the life of me, Man United are going to get both of them. I mean, the talk of the town is Man United have got no money, which is a lie anyway. But I mean, in theory, in reality, should I say, Man United need Mbeumo and Man United need Cunha. This is just the way it is, you know what I mean? And but I don't think we're going to get him. But I want to pose the question to you guys. Would you prefer Mbeumo or would you prefer Cunha? Because we're definitely not going to get both of them. Big up, Michael. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up, Ephraim. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're good. Good to see you. Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid. Here we go, Fab. Big up, Tactical Devils. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that was coming, wasn't it? I'm devastated to De Ligt injury. Does look like De Ligt's injury. I don't know if anything has been confirmed yet, but De Ligt's injury did look serious. It does look like, unfortunately, De Ligt's season is over. It is May, and we only have a couple of weeks, 3 weeks of the season left. And we got 2 weeks on Wednesday to the Europa League final. So, you know what? It does look like his season's over. Sadly for De Ligt. I mean, De Ligt has been a shining light for Man United in a very poor season. But what we're going to have to look at next season is these injuries going to be resurfacing? Are these injuries going to be causing us problems next season? Because we can't keep having these injuries. I mean, we had it last season. I mean, not to the extent this season. Last season was far worse. Erik ten Hag had about 60, didn't he, in the end? I just feel like we keep getting injuries to key players. I mean, people forget that we've been missing Licha Martinez for the whole season. I mean, Licha Martinez in the system works so well, bringing that ball forward and stuff like that. It works so well. And to be honest with you, we've missed him. We've missed a lot of players. I mean, there's been no Collier in the team, over the last few weeks as well. Ahmad has missed a big portion of the season. And you saw yesterday how good Ahmad is, of course. Ephraim, we do not nerd both of them. We do not need both of them. There you go. Big up Ephraim. Alison, hi, sir. I would prefer Cunha over Mbeumo. There you go. I would as well, to be fair. Just Cunha. There you go. We got a lot of positions to fill out in our squad. It was pretty evident yesterday that we got a lot of weaknesses within our squad. When you go beyond the first 11, the first 12, should I say, when you go beyond that, there is nothing there. Eriksen came on yesterday and done absolutely nothing. Nothing. The guy is finished, right? And we got players like Eriksen who were finished for Tottenham 5 years ago. You know what I mean? And we still got him at Man United coming on as a substitute. Do you know what I mean? We still got Lindelof, you know what I mean, at the squad, in the team. We still got bloody Luke Shaw. I mean, Luke Shaw has survived, for goodness me. How long? I don't know how he has survived. But what I don't understand is that how these players, have been at this club, injured for so long, yet they're still coming off after half an hour. They're still coming off after 45 minutes, and it just drives me mad. We don't need that anymore. I'm tired of that. Do you know what I mean? I'm tired of that. And I'm tired of the negativity. I'm tired of seeing ex-pros, ex-managers and stuff, talking about Manchester United in a negative light, to be honest. I'd see news Dalot will come back for the final. Make of that what you will. I mean, I don't think it makes much of a difference. Dalot, Mazraoui, I don't think it makes much of a difference, to be honest with you, my friend Ephraim. I think we need another wing back. Definitely, we need another right wing back. And I think it is a risk to bring Dalot back for the final when he hasn't had any football. He's not the best of players in the first place, so to bring him back for the final and not being match fit is a little bit dodgy, if you ask me, guys. Big up, Steve. What's going on, Steve? How you doing? Where were you yesterday, Steve? We missed you. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Hope everything is fine with you on this very rare late breaking dawn, of course, guys. Very rare breaking dawn. Now, look, I'm going to look at the game. I haven't really done my match player ratings. I've been so busy today. But, Michael, So why do you match day reaction on the day after the match? Some Manchester United FC YouTube channels do match it after the game because I live in the UAE, Michael, and it's late when I do it. And I like, instead of screaming in front of a camera and saying things that are a little bit rash and a little bit over the top, I like to clear my head in the morning and speak about Manchester United in a clear light without any emotion attached to what I'm saying. I like to look at things back. I like to think about it. I like to do that. I'm not one of those people who come on my stream and straight after a game and start screaming my lungs out because it won't work. Added to the fact that I am 3 hours ahead of the UK. So basically, if a game kicks off in the UAE at, in the UK at 8 o'clock, it kicks off 11 o'clock for me. So that basically means that the game will be finishing about, 1:45, and that is late to be shouting and screaming, doing the match reaction. And that is why I've said that a million times. I don't know why. And that is one of the reasons. And they also added to the fact that I don't like screaming and shouting in front of a camera after a game, because I feel like you have to have a element of balance on what you're talking about. And you have to have an element of calmness. I'm annoyed after the game. I say things I regret in the morning, and I don't like doing that. I'm too mature to do that sort of thing. I'm not one of those guys on those fan channels who jump, and stuff like that. I tend to like to think about what I'm saying because I don't like making myself look like a prat, basically, in a couple of weeks' time, and people be clipping me up and stuff like that. Absolutely. Steve, better to let our emotions settle after the game. Otherwise, we talk and think later. Not the best way to do things. So, absolutely, Steve. I done it before. I used to go after the game when I was living in England. I used to go after the game and I used to be, you effing this, you this, you that, F this, F that, Solskjaer this, Solskjaer that. And I used to be like that. And then I used to feel after a couple of hours, I would feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed. I think, what am I doing? I'm a grown man. What am I doing? Why am I talking like this? You know what I mean? And then, then obviously since I moved to UAE, it's kind of forced my hand a little bit to do a match reaction a day after the game. And this is what I do. I mean, everyone is doing it after the game. Everyone is doing it after the game. Everyone is screaming. Everyone is shouting. Everyone is doing this. I'm like to do things different. You know what I mean? I've always been like that. I like to do things different, in my opinion. And yeah, you know what? And that's how I do things. That's how we do. Madison out for the season. Big up, Ephraim. Yes, I know he's out for the season. And Solanke might be out as well, by the way. Solanke might be, that's it. Tactical, I disagree about Eriksen. His ability to play medium and non-passes was excelled and needed to create chances. He's crap, Tactical Devils. He's crap, mate. He's finished 5 years ago. My brother's a Tottenham supporter. He was so happy when they sold Eriksen 5 years ago. The guy's slow. The guy's pedestrian. The guy's lethargic. He did nothing yesterday. Nothing. And people backing him up for no reason, just because, oh, good, sentimental. Man, I come from Man United proper players, mate. You know what I mean? We've gone from Cantona to flipping Eriksen. You know what I mean? Eriksen can't even kick a ball from a corner. Wasn't that what he was meant to be good at? He's useless, man. I'm telling you right now, he's not a good player for Man United right now. He's a player that should be playing for Everton. He's a player that should be, even less, so Everton are above us at the moment. He's a player that should be playing in the Championship. Ugarte and Mainoo were too deep, which is Brentford controlled the game. In Bruno's absence, Eriksen would have started. Eriksen played poor when he came on, Tactical Devils. Eriksen was poor when he came on. He was awful. He was awful. You know what? And when England played Denmark in Europe, in the Euros and things like that, you never see Eriksen, do you? Or when we see him, I mean, I haven't seen Eriksen do anything of significance for a very long time, and that's no offense to him. I'm tired of this backing up these mediocre players. He's a mediocre player. Thank God he's leaving in the summer. Mainoo can work in two midfield ways. The best. I don't know what's happened to Mainoo in regards to Kobbie Mainoo this season. But again, this is what basically happens to young players when you play them too much. When you play young players too much, they tend to be inconsistent because you're not developing and nurturing them to the way that they should be nurtured and developed. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. And I feel like he's had a poor season because of the amount of football he played in such a short period of time. The experienced players, i.e. Eriksen, who coming on the pitch are not being influential. They're not. They're just there, kicking it around, playing like he had a heart attack, basically. and he's been, and a lot of these young players have suffered because of the lack of experience within that team and a lack of leadership within that team. Do you know what I mean? And pedestrian, slow. At the end of the day, there's a reason why we're going after Embremo and we're going after Cunha and players like that and not giving these players new contracts because, we need new players. And I feel sorry for Mainu in some aspect. I think Mainu is a fantastic player. I wouldn't blame the tactics so much because at the end of the day, you've got players like Casemiro can adjust to the tactics. I think it's up to Kobe Mainoo to look at himself in the mirror and say, look, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not controlling games? Why am I not playing as well as I was playing in my first season? I think that's what he needs to do and concentrate on fixing up. Michael, good news. My Fire Stick is now working, Sal. I can watch a big up, Michael. Well done, my friend. Good to know. Good to know. Kenny, people know that. People know that. People think about players and they think about sentimental value. They think they get all mushy and they get all like emotional about certain players and stuff like that. And they have their idea about what Eriksen is back 15, 20 years ago. At the end of the day, he's not an elite player. He's a good player who should be playing for. He should be playing in the Championship for me. I don't think he should be playing for a club like Man United. He wouldn't get in Brentford's team. He wouldn't get in any of the top 10 teams in England. He wouldn't. Brentford, when they first got promoted to the Premier League, had Eriksen in their team on loan. And, that was a long time ago then. And even then, people were saying, oh, well, you know what, he's a bit finished, isn't he? Now, when you look at it, there's certain players, and not only Eriksen, I'm not just pointing the finger at Eriksen, there's players like Lindelof, players like Luke Shaw, players like Malacia, who shouldn't be playing for Manchester United anymore, in my opinion. And, we need to move them on, and hopefully we can move these players on in the summer. Not least Mason Mount. Mason Mount, I felt, did okay yesterday, but again, he didn't last the full game, which is a little bit concerning. He started off the game very well. He does kind of bring the team forward, but you know what? Again, off after a few minutes, after half an hour, half the game. Mainu at 8 doesn't have the legs. Needed Bruno at that position. I mean, I don't know why, Kenny, because he had the legs in his first season. I don't know why that is. For whatever reason, what's going on with Mainu? Does he have the contract in his head? Has he got other things in his head? Is he having distractions, in his head? At the end of the day, and what's going on with Kobe Mainu? I love Kobe Mainu. I think Kobe Mainu is an absolutely fantastic player, generational, and one of our best players in the first season. He was here when he first made his debut. He broke onto the scene. He burst onto the scene. But what's going on at Man United in regards to developing, in regards to improving as a footballer? I don't know. Is it the player? Does the player need to take accountability? Does the player need to look at himself in the mirror? Because when we were playing against Man City in the final of the FA Cup and we were playing these games, he was absolutely phenomenal, wasn't he, Kenny? Playing in that number 8 role. He was brilliant. But what has happened since then? Steve-O, Sal, can I ask you, Sal, the community at this moment in time, this second, without knowing which new signings are going to join United, what position would you hope for in the table next season? 5th and above, mate. 5th and above. Champions League football, that's what I hope, Steve. I don't believe there should be any excuses next season. Given the fact that if he's backed, if Ruben Amorim is backed, Ruben Amorim has to be backed. I'm gonna look at things in a way it's subjectively and in context, because I know a lot of people are going to be looking at next season, hoping that Ruben Amorim surprises a lot of people and does very well. But obviously, you cannot keep trying to turn on a Datsun Cherry or Datsun Sunny, whatever it is, and turn it into a Ferrari. You have to look at bringing in new players. And at the moment, it's all hearsay. At the moment, it's a lot of talk, a lot of chitter chatter in regards to players we're going to sign. And I think that Man United, in reality, right, if Man United want a complete change, 10 players need to be gone. 10 players need to be gone. 10 players need to come in. I mean, it's unrealistic. But as I said, I would like us to qualify for the Champions League next season. I would like Man United to sign a right wing back, a goalkeeper, maybe one more defender, a midfielder, a number 10, and a striker. And that is my minimum. That is how it should be, because that is what we're missing. We're missing far more than that, because at the end of the day, I'm worried about our squad. It's not very good. But I am really concerned about how this summer's going to pan out, because I don't think Ruben Amorim can make miracles happen, and at the end of the day, you're sending Ruben Amorim into as I've always said, you're sending Ruben Amorim into a sword fight with a breadstick. And we need to hope that he does better, and hopefully he gets backed. Tactical Devils. What are you talking about? He had 4 key passes, 33. He changed our attacking player stretch. We conceded a lot of goals when he came on Tactical Devils. I don't know why you're backing him so to the hill and back, mate. But I think this is not the channel for you if you're coming on here backing a player like Eriksen, because at the end of the day, I've seen a lot more than you, Tactical Devils. I've witnessed a lot more than you, mate. I've been to a lot more games than you, mate. I work in football, and he's not that guy to take Man United forward. What I've seen at Man United, he's not that guy to take Man United forward. And if we're praising Eriksen, God help us. God help us. Holy non-ball, holy dead ball knowledge. And that's no offense to you, Tactical Devil. You have your opinion, that's subjective. But I have my opinion, right? And my opinion is that he's not good enough for Man United. For goodness sake, no wonder Norway don't qualify if they have that mentality. You know what I mean? We have Solskjaer running his mouth about Fred and flipping, what's his name, McTominay. And then we have this, you know what I mean? I'm tired of it, to be honest with you. We have not been successful in the last 12 years, 13 years. None of these players are bloody good enough. And Eriksen, as the senior player, is not good enough. And I don't have sentimental value for these players. I don't have any sentiments. I don't have any player FC and agendas, because they come from the same part of the world as me, or they, you know what I mean? They speak the same language as me, or whatever. I don't. That's not what it's about at the end of the day. Garnacho is improving on passing. Absolutely, Ephraim. Very true. 1 assist yesterday and 1 goal. What a goal. What a goal. What a goal. Kenny, Garnacho man of the match for me. I agree. You have to give credit where credit is due. Is there any truth if the quality for champions? Is there any truth if we qualify for the Champions League? I don't know what you mean by that, Ephraim. Elaborate, my friend. Elaborate. I don't know what you quite mean by that, my friend. Tactical Devils, not saying Eriksen is elite or he shouldn't be getting the but we need people like him on the pitch. We don't, Ugarte. Sorry, I called you Ugarte. We don't, Tactical Devils. We don't. He made us worse. He made us worse. We made us worse. It is a big concern and damning that we have players like Eriksen still in our squad. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. You know what I mean? And if I was an opposition player and I see Eriksen coming off that bench, I'll be laughing. I'll be smiling. I would. Eriksen was a great player 20 years ago. You know what I mean? And I don't think he's that good. You know what I mean? Anymore. Not sure about the league position, but I would say that we shouldn't finish in the 15th. I mean, obviously, Kenny. Obviously, if it comes to this time next season, Kenny, and we are 15th, then we're gonna have to ask the question, isn't it? Because this team should never be finishing 15th, regardless of it. But obviously, we're going to give the benefit of the doubt to Ruben Amorim because he came in midway through the season with a distinctive style of play that none of these players have played before, with players that are not his, with off-field issues with the likes of Rashford, losing 3 players, including McTominay as well. Let's not forget that. He lost him as well. Losing all these players, you know what I mean? And then, you know what, expecting him to make miracles, bringing in one player in Dorgu and expecting him to make these miracles happen and stuff like that. I mean, people need to wake up, man. They really need to wake up. People need to bash on their head. Like a club, like an old caveman club. But wake up. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but we're not gonna tolerate 15th next season. Absolutely not. Enough is enough. And Man United's worst league position, the worst league's points tally, were 58 points, I believe, if I'm not correct. If I'm not wrong, it was 58 points. Man United, right now, what do we have? 35 points, something like that. 36, 35. Man United have 3 games left. 3, 6, 9. So Man United could possibly get 44 points, which is like how many points below our lowest points tally of all time. Now, next season, I'm not even talking about 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th. We need to be up in that Champions League position. That's what Man United need to be doing. You know, because I'm tired of this excuses, the excuses for players, the excuses for where the football club is. And no, it's not Ruben Amorim, because I know that other managers have struggled. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you look at Jose Mourinho, you look at Louis van Gaal, you look at all these because of the board, because of what's happened at the top. This is why Man United are struggling. This is why the problem. And we warned these people about it when we had Erik ten Hag, that this thing was not going to improve. You know what I mean? Because the cultural problem at Man United is this. It's a bit like backing dead players. This is a cultural problem at the football club, you know, that we're holding on to dear life for certain players like Lindelof, like Eriksen, like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know, we need to look at winners here. We need to find winners, find people who can grab the game by the scruff of the neck. Do you know what I mean? Just grab it by the scruff of the neck and not just pedestrian. Like that. You know what I mean? There's a reason that Denmark won't win anything. There's a reason that Norway, Sweden, Finland won't win anything. It's because they're too pedestrian. Look at Højlund. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're just not the players that they used to be. And you know what? I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, you know what? This is the problem. You know, we have sentimental value, and this is a cultural problem at the football club. We need to be ruthless. No, we need to be. I've had enough of this, you know, this family vibe, this thing that we're Old Trafford, you know, we're family and all these teddy bears, Fred the Red and all that. I'm tired of all that. We need to make Old Trafford intimidating. We need to make Man United intimidating. We need to make Man United back again, strong again, and scary again. Is Basel injured? No, Ephraim is rested. Yeah, Eriksen is Danish, mate. Yeah, he is Danish. Yeah, don't need to tell me that, Ephraim. Eriksen, Kenny. He's Scandinavian. That's what I mean. I mentioned league position because I thought this project was supposed to be over 3 to 5 years, and reaching the top 5 seems a bit hurried to me. But I hope next 8 season. I don't think so, Steve. But it all depends on. I'm throwing myself out here on a limb, Steve. Right? I think we will come in the top 6 to next season. Top 5 or 6. I think Man United will. I think Man United will shock a few people. But that is only if Ruben Amorim is given the tools to succeed. This is only if Ruben Amorim is given the tools to succeed. This is the only way. And if he is given the tools to succeed, you know what I mean, then great. You know what I mean? But if not, then I'm not going to expect anything, Steve. If we get a right wing back, a new goalkeeper, a midfielder, a number 10, and a striker, I think things can change pretty quickly. I think things can. Obviously, luck is involved with injuries and stuff like that. I think things can change pretty quickly, especially if we win the Europa League, Steve. Because if we win the Europa League, we're getting that extra bit of money. That means we can bring in that extra bit of experience, don't we? So I'm being a bit more positive. I think that if he is backed, I think it's top 6, I would say, and I think we will move up that league. I believe in Ruben. Big up, Rich. What's going on, my friend? I'll be doing well. A few new signings, 6 to 8 should be the minimum next season. I would aim higher. Next year, I top 8 at good enough. A nice window does it. I mean, we should stop this top 8 business. We're Manchester United. Stop it. We should hold Ineos accountable for what they do this summer. We're Manchester United. I don't want to hear about top 8. Right? We should hold Ineos responsible, and they should make sure they back Ruben Amorim to the hill and back. Because I'm not accepting top 8. I'm sorry. We're Manchester United. We're the Real Madrid, the Bayern Munich of England. You know, and this is what we're doing. This is where we are as a fan base. Come on. I mean, top 8 is... Come on, guys. Nah. We got to fight. And we got to get higher than that. Absolutely. Erik ten Hag got top 8. He got sacked. You know what I mean? That won't be acceptable next season. No. Rich. Big up, Rich. Morning, Adam. Morning, Sal. Mate, if you're giving Ruben Amorim all the money, someone to sack him, like they do with Ten Hag when they give him all the money, mate. You know what? It is completely counterproductive to have Ruben Amorim in now in the mid-season and completely not back him. It just defeats the point. It's insanity. You know, so what they need to do is prove to us in the summer that they're going to back Ruben Amorim. If Man United get Cunha, let me just say, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I'm going to play devil's advocate. If Man United get Cunha, If Man United get an experienced striker, if we get a right wing back, if we get Edison in midfield, if we get a defender, that's higher than 8th. Especially given the fact that we got great young players coming through. We got Ruben Amorim, would have been working with the players a long time. And also, if Man United win the Europa League, right, that would add something extra to us. That would add a winning mentality, more of a confidence. Because confidence is a big thing in football. People forget that as well. And when you got that mentality where, like yesterday, you could see it happening. We were playing well, and then as soon as we concede, we capitulate. But, when we capitulate, and this is why I'm annoyed at Eriksen. This is why I'm annoyed at the experienced players in that team, because we shouldn't capitulate. They should be there being role models in that team. And this is what I'm saying to the younger players. Mainy's just turned 20. Ugate's still 23. We got players like Ahmad who's still 20, 21. And so I'm going to look at those experienced players. We've got Chido, you know what I mean? I'm going to look at those players on the pitch, Fredrickson, and I'm going to say, where are my leaders? Where are my leaders? Where are the experienced players in that team? Where's the influence? Where's the influence? Where's the fighting? Where's the spirit to bring those young players up? Absolutely. Goals for George. Denmark used to have Laudrup brothers, Sweden, Heinrich, James, Dahl, Thomason, Norway, good old days. What happened to them, Goals for George? I agree. What happened to them? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the Laudrup brothers were brilliant. Peter Schmeichel. You look at Holden. John Dahl Thomason obviously went to Newcastle, didn't really do well, but he went to AC Milan and stuff like that, and ended up doing okay. You look at that team. You look at Denmark, and you look at Norway. I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ronny Jonsson, Henning Berg. Great teams. Eric Bakker. And it was good times. Sweden have always been the top in regards to Scandinavian football, in my opinion. Obviously, we had Jesper Blomqvist at the club. I thought he was highly underrated when he came to Man United, of course. I thought he was highly underrated. Heinrich Larsson, Goals for George. We got him on loan, luckily, in the latter stages of his career. And I generally think if we signed Heinrich Larsson a little bit earlier from Celtic, he would have been brilliant for Man United. He really would have been, because when he came at Man United in the back end of his career, I mean, even then he was good. Do you know what I mean? Even then. Anthony, born in Rashford, Sancho, bare peas from Man of like 250 million. Anthony's doing very well. Great for Man United, beef bully. How much can we get for Anthony? I mean, I wouldn't sell him for less than 50, would you? At the end of the day, imagine the boot was on the other foot. Imagine Anthony was at Man United on loan and scoring all those goals. You know what I mean? I mean, imagine that. Would they sell him for 40 million or less? Do you know what I mean? Madness. We do not have the lower our standards. Absolutely, Ephraim. And 8th is lower in standards. I'm telling you right now, Ineos, that'd be music to their ears. That would be music to Ineos' ears. If all of us are going, we can come 8th next season. That's not Man United, mate. We shouldn't be coming 8th. Absolutely not. No. Man United need to aim higher. You aim for the stars, you'll fall on the moon. You aim for the moon, you fall on the clouds. You aim for the clouds, you fall on the mud. And that's what I always say. And you have to aim high. You have to have that mentality. You have to have that winning mentality. If the players, these players especially, if they've got that in their head, 8th is all right. They're not going to go up. They're going to be mid-table obscurity. If not, they'll probably be 10th. You know what I mean? They'll probably go down because they have it in their head that they're not going to get to that level. You know what I mean? And this is a mentality that needs to change. And you can tell by Ruben Amorim's face that this obviously needs to change as well. Rashford, Anthony, Sancho, billion could make us 100 million. Absolutely. We hope so, Beef Bully. We hope so, of course. Your best goalkeeper out there, United gets at mate. You know what? The best goalkeeper out there is Donnarumma. I've said it for a long time, but we're not going to get Donnarumma, are we? I want Kovar back from Leverkusen, or I want Seny Lamens. That's the goalkeeper I want. But I would take anyone at the moment, and we do need another goalkeeper. And this this is another headache for Man United. It's another headache for Man United. You know, I don't think I can handle another season of Onana. You know, I just think he's prone to mistakes. He's made too many mistakes. Apparently, he's cost us nearly, I think, 20 points this season, something like that. In a season that's difficult already. I wouldn't put all the blame on him. It is the defense as well. I'm not going to come out here and start slandering him and stuff like that. You know. Sal, what gives people confidence that the new signings will gel in the team and once the performances dip, like it has been with many new signings we put? And this is the one thing I've been saying, Steve, about culture of the football club. But what we can't do, we can't give up. You know, and what's going to give us the best possibility? Now, I look at Ruben Amorim, and I know we're losing games, but I look at Ruben Amorim and I see some positives. I see certain things that think, wow, yeah. If he's given the players that that work in his system, I think we could do things. Is it guaranteed? Nothing is guaranteed in life, is it, Steve? You know, at the end of the day, nothing is guaranteed in life. No, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it might all fall flat on our face. Then we know where we're going to go. You know what I mean? And but what I would say is that to give us the best chance of being successful is to get the players that Ruben Amorim needs for that system. Now, if the people will turn around and say, "Oh, but imagine Ruben Amorim isn't that guy. Imagine Ruben Amorim isn't going to be the manager. Would we waste money?" No, because that is your guy. Now, Ineos picked that guy. They picked their guy. Now, they have to back that guy. You know, they have to back that guy. They have to back their guy. And they have to make sure that he gets the best opportunity to succeed, the tools to succeed. It's a bit better than having being a mechanic and having tools that fix a car than being a mechanic and having a knife and fork and a spoon to fix a car. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, what's going to give you the best chance of fixing that car? And that's what I would say about it. And Ineos need to give him the best chance and need to get rid of the dead wood as well. Absolutely. I seriously think we need a progressive midfielder. Getting Cunha wouldn't be enough. There you go, Toxie. I mean, I would say that it isn't enough. I agree with Toxie because I would say that it isn't enough. I would say that Man United need a lot more. And looking at yesterday, you look at the likes of Brentford, and you think that Brentford got a better squad than us. You know, you think beyond their first team, right? It looks like they have better players than us beyond their first team. You know what I mean? And I was thinking that yesterday, but they do. You know what I mean? They do. They wouldn't have the likes of Eriksen playing for them. You know what I mean? Right now. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're falling way behind because of this. Luke Shaw scared me how they're fit. I mean, Ephraim, I look at that first goal. I look at the goal, and I mean, it made me sick, to be honest, because it was, I mean, obviously Fredrickson delayed his header to defend the second ball, but Luke Shaw, I mean, it wasn't his fault. It deflected off his chest. The player aimed for his chest and it deflected off his chest. But positionally, it was a calamity again, wasn't it? You know, it was a calamity again. We do not have to risk Ahmad. We have to be careful. Ephraim, we need it. I mean, I was glad with Ahmad yesterday, Ephraim. I was delighted with Ahmad yesterday. Glad he recovered from the game unscathed. Glad he done that. Glad that I'm happy about that. That he got through that game. He got through that game unscathed, and I think he'd be ready for the week for Thursday. What do you think? I think he will be ready for the game on Thursday, and I can't wait for it, to be honest with you, because I think that he's going to be such an important player going forward for us. I think he's going to be very, very important for us, and he's the only. The thing I've been speaking a lot about football IQ. And Ephraim, I think that what Ahmad has, he has football IQ. And I like that about Ahmad, you know, and he caused Brentford loads of problems yesterday. And they didn't like Ahmad coming on the pitch. You know what I mean? They did not like that at all. Building from the back is never a good thing for us. It literally scares me. Absolutely. It does scare me as well, by the way. Sisu, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Garnacho is our best attacking player. He has the pace, and yesterday he passed the ball to our in front players. Mark Brobridge said we should bench him if Cunha play. What I would say, Zizou, I'm not going to disagree with Mark. Mark, knows his stuff. there is no substitute for having a big squad. Having a player like Garnacho, the problem with Man United, let me tell you this, right? The problem Man United have faced over this last, few years, is that we put players into the deep end. We throw players into the deep end so soon, so quickly. Like, for example, Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho, Kobe Mainoo, even Lenny Yoro to an extent now, and some of the other young players that are coming through. You know, we throw players into the deep end. I mean, there is nothing wrong in, for example, rotation. Cunha in the team, mixing with Garnacho, Ahmad, Cunha, Ahmad, Garnacho, and you can mix it up. You can always mix it up. But what will be the overriding thing here, the similarities here, is that we will have ready-made quality. And that is the most important thing. Quality is what we need. And to be honest with you, having Cunha, having Garnacho, having Ahmad, it's only going to do well for Manchester United. Yes, we need more. I believe we need more. I think we're not going to get more than one number 10, in my opinion. But imagine we had Cunha, Garnacho, Ahmad, and we got a striker as well. I mean, and it will only hold Man United into a good stead, of course. I'm glad you said we should aim higher. That is why Delap is not a striker. I agree, Toxie, bruv. Toxie, look, you know what? I don't think he's going to... I mean, I'm tired of project players. Man United need an Osimhen. Man United need a good Gutierrez. This is what Man United need. And that was pretty evident yesterday, wasn't it? Chido Obi Martin put in a shift yesterday, but he's not ready. He's 17, coming into a team. I saw some good things from Chido. That's why he's one of my man of the matches yesterday. But I think it's unfair to put that amount of pressure on him. What we need is a striker like Osimhen, a striker like Gutierrez, someone like that who can nurture the players, the young players as well. And those young players can learn from them as well. We should not be aiming for 8th and 9th and 10th. That is not Manchester United. I am not from that world. Like, guys, I've been supporting Manchester United since the late 80s, right? And I do not accept 8, 9 and stuff like that. No. You know, we need to aim higher for what Man United. We are playing for the Busby Babes. We are playing for 1958, 1968. We're playing for the great Sir Bobby Charlton. We're playing for Sir Alex Ferguson. We're playing for Dennis Law. That is who we are. We should not be content with mediocrity. We should never be content. And if we're already, without even knowing what the transfer is going to be next season, that we're already saying, oh, 8th is okay. I don't agree. I don't agree. Aim high. Get that mentality and that, that ambition. Get it going. Get it going. Aim high. Aim for the stars. If you're only going to aim for the sky, you're going to reach the sky. If you don't know beyond the sky, how are you going to reach the stars? And this is exactly what I've been saying, And this is why we perform like we performed yesterday. Because these players know deep down that we don't really need to win this game. We're okay. We don't really need to win. It's all right. Season's finished and that's it, innit? And that is what I'm saying. That is when the mentality comes in. That is what I'm saying at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And glad you agree, Toxie. Big up. Adam, what Premier League goalkeeper would you take for United? I like Verbruggen from Brighton. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. Very, very good goalkeeper. Verbruggen, I would take. Adam. People, Sal, my hard case scenario, it can happen. Sancho v Anthony final. Who would you want to win? Anthony, Beef. Anthony didn't go to social media, Twitter, and start ranting his mouth off and stuff like that. Sancho did. Sancho was ranting and raving himself and putting that thing up. I would never forgive Sancho for what he did at his football club. Given the fact that, Beef, he was given 3 months off work as well, paid from Erik ten Hag, and the disrespect from him was absolutely astronomical. So, yeah, Anthony. Fans may need to temper their expectations and Amram next season because maybe he was lucky with Erik ten Hag at Ajax with a good talented academy, and Hala, who had a good to prove. Sporting was similar. No. The reason I'll say that is because... Sporting Lisbon was a completely different animal. I've seen things from Ruben Amram against Man City before he came, smashing up Man City. Was it 4-1? doing it in the Champions League, in a tough environment, winning Sporting Lisbon, being undefeated with Sporting Lisbon. We can't just blame expectations and things like that and say that, you know what, it's not, Ruben Amorim is not a good manager. Ruben Amorim needs to be backed, goals for George, and then we can truly judge him. At the moment, I don't even think Jurgen Klopp, Arne Slot, anyone could come into this Manchester United team and make much of a difference. I firmly don't. So I believe that all we need to concentrate on is backing Ruben Amorim to the hill. Back him. That's what we need to do. He's obviously a great manager. You don't win at Sporting Lisbon like that with the likes of Benfica and Porto in front of you. You don't win that in the Champions League like he was doing, undefeated in the Champions League, And as soon as he leaves, then everything comes, crashing down. He's obviously a great manager. He's obviously a tactician. He's obviously has a good eye for talent in regards to Gyökeres. He built Gyökeres up from being a Coventry City player to being one of probably the best performing striker in the world. That is because of Ruben Amorim, and this proves to us that Ruben Amorim needs to be backed. Absolutely. And Ajax is different. Dutch league, I can win the league in Holland. Beef Bully. A little good thing. We scored 3 goals again. Ahmad Mount scored. That's a good thing. Thank you for the positivity, Beef Bully. Absolutely. Thank you for that. If we do not buy good players, it will be difficult to compete in the Champions League. I agree, Ephraim, my friend. I agree. LT, what's going on, my friend? How you doing? Good to see you. Disappointed about De Ligt. Also glad to see Ahmad is still showing his class. Absolutely. Luke Shaw seems like someone who has lost it because he feels like we are going to concede a lot with him there. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about LT. I don't know about you, mate, but I'm a little bit worried about our defence at the moment. I think De Ligt was a big blow. I didn't want to see Luke Shaw as a left-sided centre-back in the Europa League final, if we get there, of course. Looks likely we should get there. If we don't get there, then goodness me. But even, I would say that I'm a little bit worried by that. Thankfully, Tottenham look like they've got problems of their own. So if we do end up playing Tottenham, hopefully we play Bodo Glimt. But if we do end up playing Tottenham in the Europa League final, I mean, I'll be absolutely happy because they've got a lot of injuries as well. Big up LT, by the way. The number 8 position, Sal. I think Mainu obviously hasn't had the legs at the moment through fitness, but he has an inability to sense danger on the field and is reactive more than proactive on the field. Steve, it's a good point. I've always believed, Steve. I remember great number 8s. I remember great players, Clarence Seedorf, Zinedine Zidane, Paul Scholes, who were not blessed with pace, Steve. They were not blessed with pace. But what did they have in common? Eka Davids, all these players. What did they have in common? They had the ability to read the game. Paul Scholes famously was 3 passes ahead of his opposition. He already knew what pass he was going to make after the next pass. That is the difference between compensating for speed. You look at the likes, Steve, of Teddy Sheringham. You look at the likes of Eric Cantona. You look at the likes of Dimitar Berbatov. This is football IQ. This is football intelligence. Right? You don't need to be blessed with pace. If you're a great player, you know where to be on that pitch. Give and go, give and go, give and go. I bring in Casemiro. Casemiro's slow, but when Casemiro plays, you see him give and go, give and go, give and go. He's not sprinting. He's not doing nothing. He's just keeping that ball moving, keeping the ball moving. And I think that is the problem with Mainu. He needs to look at himself because in the first season, Steve, I felt he was doing that. I don't know about you, but I felt he was doing that. I felt he was reading the game. He was passing this way, that way, getting the ball, bringing it forward, passing here. I think he was doing that. This season in particular, I haven't seen anything from him to suggest, he's going to progress because he's regressed. And that could be for a number of reasons. Big up, Steve. Big up, GK. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Our fan base are so sentimental about certain players. That is why they don't get rid of players. This is exactly what it is, Toxie. This is what I'm saying. And it annoys me. I shouldn't get annoyed, but it annoys me because, I watched this football club for a very long time, and I've seen great players. You've seen great players, Toxie. We've all seen great players in this community. I come from a generation of Eric Cantona, Dwight York, Andy Cole, Dimitar Berbatov, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo, Carlos Tevez. I'm going to look at certain players in our squad and I'm going to look at them and saying, are they anywhere near that? And obviously I'm going to say no. Let me give you an example. Let me play devil's advocate here. And this is not an attack on Eriksen's show, right? But would Eriksen get in any one of Manchester United's teams from the last 30 years? No, would he? Now, I'm looking at that right now. Now, there were great players in the Premier League back in the day. They were good players. I mean, we had the likes of Aaron Lennon, Theo Walcott, these type of players. But were they good enough to play for Man United? No. They're good, but they were not Man United players. Ericsson was around when Alex Ferguson was around. Ericsson was highly rated when Alex Ferguson was around. Why didn't Alex Ferguson sign Ericsson from Ajax? Why didn't he sign him for Ajax when he played on the right at Ajax, crossing those balls in, getting those balls in? Why did not Alex Ferguson sign him? Why not? And we have to look at this. Why are we signing him in 2025? Why is he one of our main players in 2025? And that is what needs to be looked at. This is what needs to be highlighted. Why are players that wouldn't even get a sniff on signing for Man United 15 years ago playing for Man United now? And this is my overriding concern. Big up, Toxie. David Sell, no pace, Beckham, Kanu, Raquel, mate, Berbatov, Sheringham. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Absolutely, Beef Bully. Spot on, mate. You said some names there. You said some names there, well-cast names there, that you don't need pace. Someone once said to me, they said, you can run, but you need to tactical run. Tactical running. I think it was Eric Cantona. I'm not sure. But it was either Ibrahimovic or Cantona, one of those two. He said, you don't need to run around the pitch, huffing and puffing. It's called tactical running, right? And getting yourself in certain positions in the pitch that can create a problem to the opposition, And I just don't. That comes with IQ. That comes with that sort of IQ. I don't think they have the IQ, to be honest. These players. How far you think this team, if they're in the Champions League? It depends, Ephraim, my friend. It depends if we get backed in the summer. I can only make a fair judgment once the summer ends, once the transfer ends. I can only make that judgment then. I don't think I can make that judgment right now. With this team, with Ruben Amorim, I have to wait and see what players we get, my friend. Absolutely, I have to wait and see, because obviously there's a number of things that could contribute to us. Definitely. Come on, I think last season Mainoo would be a good partner for Ugarte, but just like Garnacho, he has regressed this season, and I think it's due to him being overplayed last season. Spot on, LT. With young players, and I bring in Cristiano Ronaldo. I've seen a lot of players come at Man United, play for Man United. I remember the whole of Scholes, Beckham, Giggs' career, and I remember how they were brought into the team, how they were nurtured. Because I learned from Alex Ferguson. I used to watch Alex Ferguson, and I used to see him. Cristiano Ronaldo was not always a first-team player for Man United. Cristiano Ronaldo was on the bench a lot of the time. And we used to bring him off here and there, little bits in that. But what has happened is, whether it's a combination of overplay, ego, what I've noticed is that many players, when they play for Man United, they think they've already made it. When that is just the beginning. As soon as you make your debut, you should challenge yourself. Happily, gladly, I've seen good things from Garnacho. I saw some things from Garnacho yesterday I haven't seen in a while. You know what I mean? And I thought that was brilliant from Garnacho yesterday. I thought he did very well yesterday, and I thought that he was good yesterday, and I give him his props. So in regards to Mainoo, you don't become a bad player overnight, but what I would say is that he's not being looked after properly, and that is to do with a whole number of situations. That's to do with players, squad, environment. It could be a number of things. We just can't really put our finger on it. But one thing is true, LT, that you said, is that you can overplay young players. You can overplay young players. You can put too much pressure on them too soon. You can put them under immense pressure, which will hamper their development. Absolutely, as usual. Big up, LT. Danny B, big up crew. Big up, Danny B. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you, of course. Look, guys, on this channel, right, I don't always agree with people, right? But there are people who like to force opinions down on people because they have an agenda. They have their favorite players and stuff like that. I don't see a favorite player, right? I see my favorite team, which is Manchester United. That's what I see. I have no worry about criticizing players and stuff like that. I look at it from a subjective, neutral point of view, that even if I like that player, I'm going to call it as it is. I'm not going to try and polish a turd. That's not what I do on here. I will call it as it is, and I will bring in examples of why. Man like Sal, big up Jengas. What's going on, man like Jengas? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're good. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you, mate. Yeah. So that's what I would do, and that's what we do on this channel. That's what we've been doing for like a long time now. We've been calling things as they are. Do you know what I mean? I would say Jengas because he was better than anyone else on the pitch. 1 assist, 1 goal. That's why. He played all right, man. He played all right. Come on. Do you think we should buy and what? What's that, Zizou? What's that? Do you think we should buy it? Finish that off, Zizou. I'm intrigued to know what you're going to say there. I'm intrigued to know what you're going to say there. Absolutely. Jengas, I think he was up there, definitely. It was only him and Garnacho who are there. Look, I put Chido there. There was no one else that I looked at and I thought, wow, he performed well. Look, can we say, Jengas, our standards need to raise, definitely. Our standards need to grow. I'm tired at the end of the day, I'm tired of seeing 5s and 6s out of 10s. I want to see 8s. I want to see 7 and 8s now. This is the time in the season when Man United used to become good, used to go and it was the home stretch, wasn't it? And we used to go for it, and we used to climb that table. Nowadays, we're looking at things and squeezing water. It's like squeezing water out of a stone, isn't it? You're trying to pick positives, and it's a bit like picking a good orange in a field full of maggots. You know what I mean? I don't know where that analogy came from, but that is what it's like, And I just feel like these standards of this football club need to raise, and it's a bit like earlier on when we were talking about I'll be happy with 8th next season. No, I won't be happy with 8th next season. Man United should be aiming higher than that. Let's not fall for the Ineos gravy train. Let's not fall for what they want. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely, Jengas. Big up Jengas, by the way. Hope you're doing well. Do you think we should buy another Bruno because yesterday he didn't play? Yesterday he didn't play because he was rested, which makes me think that Ruben Amorim is putting all the eggs in that Europa League basket. But what was exposed yesterday, in my opinion, is that our squad. Our squad is weak. Our squad is weak. And I will not hear anything other than our squad is weak, because it's weak. And as soon as you go beyond the first 11, the first 11 ain't perfect. But when you go to the second 11, my God, it's awful. Positives there to take 3 different players, get in on the score sheet. So, yeah, good positive. I wouldn't read too much into the game yesterday, but one thing I would say defensively, we were a little bit of a shambles, which is a little bit strange because usually it's the other way around. We don't score, we defend well, but we lose the game. But yesterday we scored well and we defended badly. I felt like Man United were unlucky to lose the game yesterday, but we only can blame ourselves. The only thing we can blame is ourselves because we cannot defend the second ball. We were a calamity in defense. And obviously, we do have young Fredrickson in there. We had Amas in there. So we have to look at that as well. That is a big factor. These players are not ready to play for Man United. These players need loans to get strength and stuff like that, and the positional awareness and things like that, in my opinion. Ugarte is a good player. People criticizing too much. Over-sensationalized criticism, Ephraim. It is too much, yeah. Ugarte has been given 7 and 8. He gave 2 assists the other night against Athletic Bilbao. I feel like the criticism is exaggerated. And people just want a scapegoat. They want to find someone to blame, And that is it at the end of the day. Amas and Fredrickson still agreeing defensively, very green. Yeah, I agree. Jengas, no, they're not ready yet. They need to be brought into the team slowly, nurtured into the team, of course, and that's what they need to do. Guys, I want to thank every single one of you legends for joining me today. I know I'm a little bit late today. Sorry about that, guys. But I'll try and be back later. Hopefully I will be out. I'm traveling, but hopefully I will be back. But please put your notifications on, so if I go live, you'll know about it. Anyway, it is a massive week for Manchester United. Manchester United will be playing Athletic Bilbao to get into the final of the Europa League. And that is exactly what we want, and that is what fills me with hope, is that we're going to be in the Europa League, in a final, in a major final. And watching all these outlets around the world crying about that, I don't care, to be honest with you, absolutely. Amas was slow reacting to the first goal. I think he was worried about fouling in the box, lack of experience. Yeah, and Fredrickson. Did you see the first goal, Jengas? When he headed it, then he delayed his run, then he ran to head it. Those are the margins, isn't it, Jengas? Those are the margins in football that if you, in the Premier League, a slight delay, a slight hesitance, they'll get you. These are world-class players we're talking about. Every team has world-class players, isn't it? Chocomoco, what's going on, my friend? If we aren't able to bring in 3 players in the window, then Ruben Amorim is gone by December. And that's not his fault, is it, Chocomoco? If that did happen, that's not his fault, is it? Big up, Chocomoco. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day, and I shall see you later. Hopefully, if I get back in time. But have a great day, and enjoy the elements. Enjoy it. Peace. Just relax. Take it easy. We're waiting till Thursday. Thursday's the big one, and it always has been, guys. I'm Salwan, and this is Breaking Dawn. Have a good one. Salam alaikum. Take it easy.